and the cisterna chyli should connect to the left. It's the right quarter, right? Yeah.
Above the diaphragm.
That's connecting on this guy, and it's not shown.
But they only go up to 12. Where do you lymphatic?
Unless he decides, I don't know, but yeah, it's connecting to the right side. And this would be a thoracic duct, which is connecting from the cisterna chyli. This is not your cisterna chyli, this is your esophagus. And you can see it come out here, where it would drop into the stomach.
I don't know. You tell me what that says.
Got that on tape.
It's okay, it's squishy.
The attack of the mannequin, the trunk guy.
Is supposed to be okay. It would sit cleaner if this was actually properly aligned.
Here, let me look. I will do this. No, you shouldn't. I'm pretty sure. It's 682.
That's what I
That's
thought.
better.
No, but it can't be.
That's
Why
better.
can't it?
Okay.
Because this is
So,
all lymph system. That's respiratory.
stomach,
You never know.
cardiac area, pyloric area, fundus is the bulge on the side. Lesser curvature, greater curvature. Know your three muscle layers where you have your longitudinal, you have your transverse, and you have your oblique. So know which ones are the superior, which one are superficial, which ones are the deep, etc.
Oh, I have that little.
Sorry.
What are those called?
No, I had
Those look like the thing in the left ventricle.
Yeah.
Trabecular carne is what you're thinking of? Yeah. They're very similar function. They help with the grinding, etc.
Okay.
They're called rugula.
Arugula.
Rugula. Or rugae. They might be called either one.
Okay.
I think they're called rugula. So check with your lab manual to see what name you're using.
Your produce department.
Yeah, check with your produce department. So this is going to be the lower esophageal sphincter or the cardiac sphincter. Both names are correct. This is going to be your pyloric valve or your pyloric sphincter. Both names are correct, which drops from the pylorus of the stomach into the duodenum. Now, when food enters your mouth, it is food. When you chew it up and it's mixed with saliva, then it becomes a bolus. The bolus travels through your esophagus and drops into your stomach. It's still bolus. When it's mixed with the digestive enzymes and ground about, that's when it becomes chyme. So bolus is most likely to be found in the upper part of the stomach near the fundus. The fundus is just room to allow for gas expansion and gas release. That's basically it. That's our burp bag. The lower part of the stomach is going to have properly fully mixed chyme just waiting for deposit into the duodenum. So it's not chyme when it leaves the pyloric valve, it's chyme beforehand. So he may ask you some questions. When does it become this? When does it become that? It's chyme all the way through the intestines, and when you start draining the water out in the colon, in the large intestines, that's when it becomes feces. And then if you're talking to a younger crowd, it becomes shit. So taking the stomach off, you have your greater omentum here covering your intestines, and you have your colon, you have your small intestines, which are divided into the duodenum, the jejunum, and the ileum. Now, what is the danger of obesity as far as the greater omentum is concerned? Does anyone know?
Down on the
What is
heart?
the danger from obesity from an enlarged greater omentum?
But doesn't it
Well,
pressure
you
on
get-
fat?
It's called paniculus. And paniculus can impinge both circulation and digestion.
There's a more direct
An
threat
omentum
to the
is
heart
called
valve.
an apron.
Yeah.
If it hangs out vastly, it's called paniculus.
Yeah. But what is the direct threat to the heart?
Well,
It
you're
pulls it
increasing
down.
the vascularity, and you've got more gravity pulling against those.
That's where it comes from, is the gravity. See, what happens is the gravity pulls on the diaphragm because this is all connected up. Not anymore, it isn't.
Do they become strangulated, or they
Okay,
simply
dead
have
right now.
more
Well, it's
gravity
not,
to
don't
fight?
think of it as vascularity. It's mechanical pumping of the heart itself that is in danger. Because it's pulling on the diaphragm. So what it does is it stretches the pericardial sac, which is attached to the diaphragm. Well,
But our
attached
vessel's
to it.
always losing the battle of
Basically.
gravity, so isn't that just increasing the
It does.
the
It
gravitational
does.
effect? Aren't you
It
becoming
does
a bigger
decrease
planet?
circulation.
Tell you in
Yes.
a minute.
But the most immediate danger is what it does to the heart. Because when you pull on the diaphragm, what happens is it stretches the sac like this. So the bottom's pulled out and the sides pull in. So it's squeezing the heart from the sides. That pressure makes it difficult for the heart to pump. And this can lead to congestive heart failure, which in turn will lead to a heart attack.
Oh my gosh.
How is it that muscles of the heart don't fatigue like the rest of the muscles in the body?
Because they're bifurcated and calcated,
Yeah.
and they get an incredible amount of
This is a wear off.
what's the heart sugar?
Myosin?
There could be something.
Myofibrils?
What's 670?
Myofibrils?
They get a tremendous amount of glucose directly to the muscles, right?
Yeah.
Where's the soda?
They're blood hogs.
Yeah, the heart muscle is awesome. Absolutely awesome. The reason we don't use that for the rest is because heart muscle is autorhythmic. And to have those advantages, it also has a delay in its in the period of recovery so that it can contract the next time, which prevents us from doing stronger contractions. You'll learn all about that in physiology. You'll go into great detail about that in physiology. You'll have a whole lab just on muscle contractions.
Plus, they're multinucleated, right? So they, muscle cells, are they multinucleated?
Oh my gosh, you guys know.
So are your skeletal.
Are they? But does that assist things? Do you have more mitochondria in there, et cetera?
No, it's not really about the mitochondria so much. That's an indirect relationship. I mean, it's there, it has effect, but they're both multinucleated. Okay. So that's the danger of obesity as far as the greater momentum is concerned. That's why when people are really fat, they're not so much worried about your back flaps or your thunder thighs. No one really cares about that so much.
I care about
that. Well, I mean, medical professionals, health-wise, what people really care about is your waist size. Your waist to hip ratio and your waist size is the greatest signifier of overall health. Everything else, that's superficial. This is what's important. That's what'll kill you. Alright, so going into this, you have your colon, which after it passes through the small intestines, it comes out through the ileocecal valve, from the ileum into the cecum, which is why it's called ileocecal valve, and it goes into and it drops into the cecum. This is the vermiform appendix. What's its purpose?
It's lymphatic tissue.
It is lymphatic tissue. What's its purpose?
You to me.
It has a purpose.
Yes, it does.
It does.
It's a secondary, not a primary. It doesn't have stem cells. It's a secondary one, so it's the first of many to respond when there's infection. And he's down here because there's potential for a lot of
There
infection
is
with the
potential for a
poo.
lot of infection with the feces, with our intestines, local flora. The fact that this ends at an orifice, so this is a route for bacteria to enter the body. So this is really a frontline defense for the immune system. It also has a secondary purpose by working as storage for excess local flora, bacteria that's useful for our intestines. So it has a couple of purposes, really.
What's it called again?
Vermiform appendix.
It looks like a worm.
Well, the medical industry, I think up until 20 years ago, our teacher was
Something like
saying
that,
that
yeah.
they were just taking them out. Oh, you're 2 years old, you don't need that, let's take it out.
Yeah, because that would prevent appendicitis because they saw no good to
No
keep
reason
it.
to keep it, right.
So they just take it out and prevent the whole issue. And they don't do that anymore. They only take it out if you have appendicitis that is not controllable.
So how is it then,
It was an A. It was like
because it's a defense to our immune system, there's really no way to take care of your appendix, right? I mean, there's certain things that you've learned that you can take care of your lungs and your heart and your, but nothing really to take care of your appendix.
Well, stop doing beer bombs in your butt.
Get too big.
Come on, that's what college is all about.
I know, but if you stop doing beer